Chapter 314 Lot drawing for the round of 8. Huro Yuao stared at her calmly and replied, Why? What? Wang Qiwa continued, Why won't you fight me? Are you not as brave as Donga is? What about your ultimate ice? What about your formidable spiritual power? Why won't you dare to come on stage to see who's the stronger one? Huro Yuao gave her a deep stare, and he could see the moisture swelling around at the bottoms of her eyes. He heaved a faint sigh and said, Is it that amusing for you to bully a cripple? Do you think I can defeat you in my current state? Wang Qiwa's aura froze and her ferocity was beaten back. She stared at Huro Yuao in his wheelchair, and her condescending words didn't come out of her mouth in the end. She turned towards Wang Donga and said, Nobody has won this fight. If we meet again in the finals, you and I will finish what we started if you can't fight. It's a deal. Wang Donga didn't show any weakness at all in her reply. Wang Qiwa departed with large strides, bearing her golden dragon spear. The Shrek Academy team was walking towards her, and she led them away from the competition arena. Huro Yuao watched her figure disappear from view before he exhaled deeply and said, Brother Ji, bring me back to the hotel. Ji Juogen was slightly taken aback, and glanced subconsciously at Wang Donga. Wang Donga had always been the one responsible for pushing his wheelchair. The toughness that Wang Donga showed against Wang Qiwa immediately vanished into thin air. She lowered her voice and whispered, I know I was wrong. Yuao, can you not be angry with me? Huro Yuao snapped around and glanced at her as he forced down the boiling rage in his heart. He lowered his voice and said, We'll talk about this when we get back. Huro Yuao had to give her face when they were outside, no matter what. He closed his eyes after his reply. Wang Donga stuck out her tongue and gestured at Ji Juogen, who hurriedly pushed Huro Yuao's wheelchair back towards their hotel. The others wore strange expressions on their faces. Jiang Nanan and Xiaoxia gave Wang Donga a thumbs up, and seemed a little amused. Wang Donga blushed and pouted towards them. She gestured in Huro Yuao's direction with her lips and gave them a pleading look. Jiang Nanan covered her mouth and giggled, but then turned away. It didn't seem like she wanted to help at all. Everyone received news that new rooms had been arranged for them once they returned to the Brilliant Delight Hotel. The teams that had progressed into the quarterfinals were assigned better rooms. The first place teams of each group stayed in the top level, while the second place team stayed on the second level. Huro Yuao directly rejected the offer to switch rooms, and he told the officials that he didn't want any more inconveniences. Wang Donga pushed his wheelchair obediently back inside their room. Wang Donga pushed his wheelchair all the way inside and bolted the door. She stood beside Huro Yuao and lowered her head, as if she were a little child who had done something wrong. She placed her tender and smooth hands in front of her and filled with her fingers. Let me help you on bed to rest. Is that okay? Wang Donga whispered. Do you have any strength left in your hands? Huro Yuao answered coldly, and his eyes landed on Wang Donga's quivering arms. There wasn't a single ounce of strength left in Wang Donga's hands after those intense clashes from before. I know I messed up, Yuao. The truth is, I just wanted to prove that she's not stronger than me. I didn't have any other intention. We were just fighting normally, and we wouldn't have placed our lives on the line. Wang Donga's explanation made Huro Yuao even more furious, and the rage that he had been holding back immediately erupted. Wang Donga, listen to me. We are the Tang Sect, and you are part of the Tang Sect team. You didn't listen to instructions and make decisions on your own. How am I to command and instruct the others from now on? Have you thought about that? Also, I don't care at all whether you're stronger than Wang Qiwa or she's stronger than you. I'm just concerned about your safety. Do you not know how powerful her golden dragon spear is? You would have been irrevocably injured if you had been struck by her spear. What am I to do if something happens to you? Why do you have to make me worry and make me anxious like that? If you regaining your personality means you'll be so rebellious, I would rather have that gentle and soft you. At least you won't make me worry that way. Do you not know that I feel 10 times more pain if you were hurt than if it had been my own injuries? You had an exciting time with Wang Qiwa on stage, huh? But did you know what I was feeling beneath the stage? Wang Donga stuck out her tongue. She didn't attempt to dispute him, and she lowered her head and put on a pitiful look as she listened to his chiding. There was no question that this was the best solution to deal with Huro Yuao. Huro Yuao raised his voice angrily against her, but the fury in his heart gradually dissipated as he watched her cute and obedient behavior. Huro Yuao snapped, Give me your hands. Wang Donga hurriedly gave him both of her hands. Huro Yuao grabbed her right forearm as he looked at her trembling arms, and he channeled his gentle mysterious heaven technique soul power and helped her slowly smooth out and adjust her passageways and nerves. Wang Donga stared at the serious look on his face and felt the warmth and comfort from his large hand against her arm. Waves of warm sentiment swelled in her heart as she inched forward and sat down on his lap before leaning into his chest. Wang Donga's warmth and tenderness melted the last strands of anger in Huro Yuao's heart. How could he scold her any more when she was so soft in his embrace? Huro Yuao continued helping her smooth the passageways in her arms. He suddenly looked up and shouted in the direction of their room door, Senior brothers and senior sisters, stop listening. Go back, wash up, and get some rest. Ahem. Dry coughs could be heard from outside their door, and everything quickly quieted down. Wang Donga blushed and whispered, Those nasty fellows. Huro Yuao put down her arms for a moment and stroked her cheek so that she was staring into his eyes. Donga. Yes, this is the first and the last time. I don't want to see something like this happen again. Okay. I want to punish you. How are you going to punish me? I'm going to spank you. You're so nasty. The round robin's final matches were over. 8 teams progressed into the quarterfinals, and this also meant that the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament was entering its final phase. The first place teams out of the teams that qualified were Shrek Academy, the Snow Demon Sect, the Holy Ghost Sect, and the Proud Sword Sect. The Heavenly Soul Empire's Princess, Wei Na, and Yu Shui were part of the Snow Demon Sect, and they were considered acquaintances. There was nothing to be said about the Holy Ghost Sect. Their mighty evil soul masters never gave their opponents any chance at all, and they hadn't encountered any particularly strong opponents throughout the entire tournament thus far. Most of their rounds were resolved in the single elimination matches. The Proud Sword Sect was a relatively reclusive sect, and their performances were extremely low profile. It felt as if they won every round by a hair's breadth. They advanced gradually but steadily, and they eventually came out from the round robins with a full score. The other quarterfinalists, which consisted of the second place teams in the round robins, included the Tang Sect, the Douluo National Academy, the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy, and the Heavenly Dragon Sect. The Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy was another reputable soul engineering academy based in the Radiant City. They were second only to the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy in reputation, but they had always been held back by the Sun Moon Academy in past seasons. There were rumors going around that the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy had an unprecedented and irreplaceable team of prodigy students this season, and it was this team that had brought them into the quarterfinals. They were considered a formidable dark horse. Huro Yuao was connected in some way to the Heavenly Dragon Sect. The Heavenly Dragon Sect and the Earth Dragon Sect were a pair of relatively withdrawn sects that were both quite reputable amongst the other sects. The Heavenly Dragon Sect was comparatively stronger than the Earth Dragon Sect, and their martial souls were all true dragons. This was the reason why the Earth Dragon Sect was considered a subsidiary sect of the Heavenly Dragon Sect. Naturally, the Earth Dragon Sect would never admit that. Even though they had a friendly relationship with the Heavenly Dragon Sect, they had never been willing to concede the Heavenly Dragon Sect's superiority. The Heavenly Dragon Sect's impressive fighting strength couldn't be denied. However, they came out with 6 victories in the round robins, and the only match they lost was against the Snow Demon Sect, and the reason they came out second in their group. For some reason, they were clearly fooling around during their battle against the Snow Demon Sect, and they didn't give everything they had. The quarterfinalists were finalized. The teams would take 2 days off, and then the quarterfinals would officially begin. 1 day was enough to conclude the quarterfinals, and the winning teams would be given another 2 days to rest before they would enter the semifinals. 2 more days would be allocated before the grand finals, and the tournament would then be over. Today was the first day of rest before the quarterfinals. All 8 teams were up early in the morning to draw lots before the quarterfinals began. This was exceedingly important for every team. It didn't mean that the teams who qualified in second place weren't strong at all. For instance, the Tang Sect gave everything away to Shrek Academy, but those with the discerning eye could tell that the Tang Sect was actually stronger than Shrek Academy. In actual fact, the Tang Sect had helped Shrek Academy cripple some of their opponents so that they could qualify successfully. Similarly, the Heavenly Dragon Sect had also qualified as the runners-up in their group. Their true strength had always been a mystery, but there was no doubt that they had incredible prowess. Some of their contestants, who were clearly their main team members, hadn't even taken part in the tournament yet. Whichever team ended up against them wouldn't have an easy time. As for the remaining 2 second-place teams, the Douluo Empire's representative team and the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy's team, how could they be weak if they made it into the quarterfinals? The lottery was to be carried out at the Brilliant Delight Hotel. The contestants had to admit that the organizing committee's decision to do this was laudable. It was very humane, and allowed testing teams more time to rest. All 8 quarterfinalists teams were already inside the Brilliant Delight Hotel's grand banquet hall. The 8 teams were standing in 8 rows. Huo Yuao was standing in front of the Tang Sect team. This spot had originally belonged to Bei, but Huo Yuao was sitting in his wheelchair, so he wouldn't be able to see what was going on in front if he was seated to the back. Zhang Zan, who had been the referee for the Tang Sect on many different occasions, was sitting on the rostrum. There were several other officials present that the Sun Moon Empire had sent forth especially to organize this tournament. One of the officials stood up and gathered everyone's attention. He smiled brightly and said, "First, I would like to congratulate every team that's managed to qualify for the quarterfinals. As you all know, this is the first tournament that Sects have been allowed to participate in, and it's been a lot more competitive than previous seasons." This official went on with his formalities for 15 minutes before finally touching on the topic that everyone was waiting for. "Now, we will draw the lots for the quarterfinal matchups. This lottery will not only determine who you will face in the next round, it will also determine the teams that you might face in the subsequent rounds. I trust that the outcome of this lottery will be beneficial for your preparations. The rules are as follows. We will invite the 4 first place teams onto the stage, and they will take their turns drawing lots to decide which teams will be in the first group and which teams will be in the second group. Every first place team will draw lots against a second place team, and the only rule is that the first place team cannot be matched against the second place team in their same group during the round robins. Who you draw shall be your opponent in the quarterfinals. After the pairings have been settled, the winners from the first and the second group will enter the semifinals. The winners of the semifinals will proceed into the grand finals." Huo Yuao frowned faintly as he listened to the official's announcement. According to their lottery rules, it was still possible for the Tang Sect to meet Shrek Academy's team in the semifinals. This wasn't something they wanted to happen. The 4 first place teams quickly sent their representatives up on stage. Wang Qiu was undoubtedly the representative for Shrek Academy's team. Tang Yu represented the Holy Ghost Church, and Yu Shui represented the Snow Demon Sect. Huo Yuao was familiar with all of them. The Proud Sword Sect sent up one of their youths. The teams couldn't help but feel a little nervous as they were about to choose their opponent in the quarterfinals. There was no doubt that the Snow Demon Sect and the Proud Sword Sect were the weaker teams amongst the first place finishers, and the Holy Ghost Sect was assuredly the strongest team. Shrek Academy had Wang Qiu to anchor things down, so they were still considered quite powerful. Not a single second place team wanted to be matched up against the Holy Ghost Sect. The groupings were drawn first. Shrek Academy was the first to draw their grouping. They were the champions from the previous season after all, and considered a legendary team. The Sun Moon Empire had to give Shrek Academy respect at a time like this, no matter how much they didn't like them. Wang Qiu looked very calm and composed. She would give everything she had against whichever team she would eventually draw, and there was no such thing as anxiety or fear in her heart. Shrek Academy, first group. Wang Qiu drew into the first group. The Holy Ghost Sect was the second team to draw lots. Tanya was dressed in a long black robe as she had always been. Her exquisite features were hidden beneath a veil, but how could her frame and her eyes fool the Tang Sect's team, who were also familiar with her? Bei was standing right behind Huo Yuao, and Huo Yuao almost instantly felt Bei's hands tighten around his wheelchair's handles. It wasn't hard to guess what he was feeling inside. Tanya didn't hesitate at all, and drew her lot. The Holy Ghost Church, second group. Everyone could feel that Shrek Academy's team was relieved when they heard second group. The Holy Ghost Sect in the second group meant that Shrek Academy's team would only meet them in the grand finals. The Snow Demon Sect, represented by Wei Na and Yu Shui, were next. Yu Shui was the one responsible for drawing lots. She hesitated for a moment before she stuck her hand inside the lottery box. Her expression became gloomy when she drew her card. The Snow Demon Sect, second group. It was no wonder Yu Shui seemed despondent and agonized. The Snow Demon Sect was in the same group as the Holy Ghost Sect. The youth representing the Proud Sword Sect smiled. "I don't need to draw any more, right? The Proud Sword Sect, first group. The 4 first place teams finished drawing their groups. Shrek Academy and the Proud Sword Sect were in the first group. The Holy Ghost Sect and the Snow Demon Sect were in the second group. This was a good draw for the 2 teams in the first group. Next, we will draw lots for the quarterfinal matchups. Shrek Academy will draw first." Wang Qiu raised her hand and drew her card. However, she was dazed for a moment when she withdrew her card. Shrek Academy has drawn. The Tang Sect. Everybody's expressions froze in the Tang Sect's team. Huo Yuao smiled bitterly at Wang Qiu on stage, and his lips moved and trembled, but no sound came out. Wang Qiu subconsciously glanced in the Tang Sect's direction after drawing them, and coincidentally saw the words that Huo Yuao was mouthing. She could tell that he was saying, "Do you hate us that much?" Wang Qiu mouth twitched as she placed the card back inside the lottery box. The official responsible for the lottery announced, "Shrek Academy's team and the Tang Sect belonged in the same group before this, so this lot is nullified. The Shrek Academy will draw one more time." Yes, because of the round robins, Shrek Academy's team would not go up against the Tang Sect in the quarterfinals. Wang Qiu drew another card. Shrek Academy's new opponent is. The official paused for a moment to build up the suspense. The Tang Sect had no response at all, but the other second place teams focused on his words. The Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy. Somebody from the Tang Sect laughed out loud. It was Xiao Xiao. The Sun Moon Empire really had some hate going on with Shrek Academy. The lottery was so coincidental. Shrek Academy had just taken care of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, and now the Shrek team had to face off against the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy. This conflict and vengeance was really swelling. The lottery official looked helpless and exasperated as well. The students from the Radiant Academy didn't seem so surprised, but instead, every single one of them appeared as defiant as could be. There was no question that the only thought in their minds was, what if we defeat Shrek Academy and regain our nation's glory? Our honor and glory will overshadow the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy. The Proud Sword Sect was second in line to draw. Huo Yuao became truly nervous at this point. The scenario that he absolutely did not want to see was the Tang Sect and Shrek Academy being allocated into the same group, because that meant they would have to fight each other before the grand finals. Therefore, the Proud Sword Sect's draw was very important to Huo Yuao and his team. Even though the Proud Sword Sect seemed a little weaker than the others, the Tang Sect would rather face off against a stronger team. The Proud Sword Sect's opponent in the quarterfinals is the Heavenly Dragon Sect. Once this was announced, everybody in the Tang Sect was overcome with delight, and they all heaved sighs of relief. Over on Shrek Academy's side, Dai Huabin, Wu Feng and the others also heaved sighs of relief. They didn't want to fight the Tang Sect either, and no matter what personal vengeances they had with Huo Yuao, Wang Donga, and the others, these were but internal matters. Furthermore, it was because of this very fact that they knew how formidable Shrek's 7 monsters were. Even if Shrek Academy's team had Wang Qiu, their team strength was still a far cry from the Tang Sect's overall strength. The first group's lots had been completely drawn. The 2 remaining teams that hadn't been allocated yet were the Tang Sect and the Douluo National Academy. Princess Juju of the Douluo National Academy didn't look so good. The Holy Ghost Sect was in the second group, and even if the Douluo National Academy was to fight against the Snow Demon Sect in the quarterfinals, and even if they could beat them, they would have to go up against the Holy Ghost Sect or the Tang Sect in the semifinals. Both teams were far too strong for the Douluo National Academy to fight against. The Holy Ghost Sect will draw next. The Holy Ghost Sect is a gangster. Douluo National Academy. Shu Juji's expression turned grey when she heard that. She had a tough and unrelenting personality, but she was still overcome with shock. She understood that they had no chance at all against the Holy Ghost Sect, because the Holy Ghost Sect was possibly stronger than even the Tang Sect. There was no need to draw the last lot. The Tang Sect would be up against Mu Shui and Wei Na's Snow Demon Sect in the quarterfinals. This was a fantastic draw for the Tang Sect, as the Snow Demon was evidently weaker than the Holy Ghost Sect. It didn't seem like it would be very difficult for the Tang Sect to defeat their designated opponent, while they would have a showdown against the Holy Ghost Sect in the semifinals. The Holy Ghost Sect would be greatly weakened no matter what the result was. Of course, it was better if the Tang Sect could win this battle, but even if the Tang Sect lost, they would have smoothed the path ahead for Shrek Academy. One precondition was that Shrek Academy had to get through their own group. Their opponents were not weak, and it was still uncertain whether they could fight their way into the grand finals. Huo Yuao exhaled deeply and turned around to look at Bei. This should be the best outcome. Bei's eyes had been fixed on Tanya from beginning to end. He nodded and said, "Yes, if we can defeat the Snow Demon Sect, you will be in charge when we face the Holy Ghost Sect." All right. Huo Yuan knew what he was trying to say. His eldest senior brother was afraid that he would lose himself if they went up against Tanya. All right, the lottery is over. The quarterfinals will commence the day after tomorrow. The first group will fight it out in the morning, and the second group will battle in the afternoon. Make your preparations, everyone, as the tournament has reached its final phase. Every round will be exceptionally important to every team here today. I hope everyone can achieve the best results. The lottery was over, and the officials retreated one after another. The 8 quarterfinalists also took turns exiting the grand banquet hall. Huo Yuan A charming voice rang out. Who are you? Turned around and saw Shui and Wei Na walking over together. Wei Na's face was full of regret as she said, I didn't expect us to meet you guys in the quarterfinals. This is a terrible draw for us. Who are you? Chortled and said, how can that be? You guys came in first in the group stages, but we were second in ours. Shui grunted coldly and said, stop pretending. Everyone knows what you guys were doing against Shrek Academy. Don't think that you will definitely defeat us. We will meet again in the arena when the time comes. Who are you? Smiled slightly and just nodded. Everyone has a chance. We will all fight with everything we have. I just hope that this tournament will not affect our friendship. In the end, we're still business partners, are we not? Wei Na's eyes lit up as she said, that's what I wanted to say, as well. No matter how this tournament turns out, we will still be business partners. I'm looking forward to more cooperation with the Tang Sect in the future. Definitely. Both parties kept walking out as they talked. Once they left the main door, Shui, Wei Na, and the rest of the Snow Demon Sect bid their farewells to the Tang Sect before they took their leave. The other teams left as well. Bei said, let's head back as well. Let's have a meeting in my room. Tang Sect's members gathered in Bei's room. They hadn't moved to the second level, but the Tang Sect's new room was a lot better than their old and decrepit one from before. Shu Sanchi stretched out lazily on the sofa and said, why are we having a meeting? Bei. Today's lottery turned out pretty well. We should have a good rest and destroy the Holy Ghost Sect when the time comes. We have to knock some sense into Xiaoya, no matter what. Bei frowned and said, don't think it's all fine and dandy. We have to defeat the Snow Demon Sect before we can fight the Holy Ghost Sect. Shu Sanchi was a little surprised. Are you kidding me? Bei, do we really have to open a meeting for our battle against the Heavenly Soul Empire's Snow Demon Sect? I think they were lucky to be top in their group. On the other hand, I think the Heavenly Dragon Sect is stronger than they are, and they will be the ones standing in the way of Shrek academies in their group. Bei grunted coldly and said, it's not as easy as you think. Tell him, little junior brother, what problems are we going to face? Who are you? Understood that his eldest senior brother wanted to test him. We can't overlook one sect. Shu Sanchi was momentarily stunned. What sect? Who are you? Answered, the Body Sect. The Body Sect. Haven't they been keeping their heads down this entire time? Who are you? Said, that's the point. They haven't revealed themselves yet, so we have to pay extra attention to them. According to reliable sources, the Body Sect is definitely participating in this tournament. However, they haven't shown any tracks yet. What does this mean? This means that the Body Sect is hidden within another team, and they haven't shown their true colors yet. This team is quite strong, and what I can tell from the current situation, the Body Sect is likely to be embedded among one of quarterfinalists. Of the 8 quarterfinalists, the Shrek Academy, us, and the Holy Ghost Sect can be excluded. These 3 teams simply cannot have any people from the Body Sect embedded inside them. Of the 5 remaining teams, the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy is also unlikely. After all, the Body Sect once ambushed the illustrious Virtue Hall, and they are on bad terms with the Sun Moon Empire. The Proud Sword Sect, the Heavenly Dragon Sect, the Snow Demon Sect, and the Douluo National Academy are suspects. If I'm not wrong, the Body Sect's people are definitely hidden within one of their reserve lineups. Bei nodded, satisfied at Yua's words. He's right. Therefore, don't think that we are lucky for drawing the Snow Demon Sect. There's a 25% chance that the Snow Demon Sect has people from the Body Sect hidden inside their team. If they want to defeat us, then the Body Sect will definitely have to fight. Therefore, it's very probable that we will be up against a very formidable opponent in our next match. The corner of Shu Sanchi's mouth twitched. We can't be that unlucky, can we? 1 in 4. Will we actually meet them? However, it seems like the Shrek Academy's lot is pretty good. They're up against the Radiant City Soul Engineering Academy. That means they don't even have a 1 in 4 chance of going up against the Body Sect. Bei continued, no matter which team the Body Sect is hidden in, every single team in the quarterfinals is quite strong. It's likely that the Body Sect will show themselves in the quarterfinals. We cannot rest our hopes on luck, and that means we have to be careful with what we decide to do. Xia heaved a faint sigh and said, it would be fantastic if the Body Sect is hidden inside the Douluo National Academy. A smile appeared on everyone's faces when she said this. Wasn't that right? The Douluo National Academy was going up against the Holy Ghost Church. The Body Sect against the Holy Ghost Sect would be a spectacular battle. If they ended up dealing heavy losses to each other, that would be a perfect outcome for the Tang Sect and Shrek Academy. Who are you? Sighed faintly and said, even though I wish that were true, I have to say that it's very unlikely. Why? Xia asked curiously. Who are you? Answered, it's very simple. Have you guys not realized that the Douluo Empire has been trying to reach out to Shrek Academy? They have always been trying to form an alliance or some kind of camaraderie with us, and they've always been trying to get the Academy's help. Princess Juji's urgency and her eagerness wasn't fake when she was purchasing the Juga Divine Crossbows. She requested a titled Douluo test the Juga Divine Crossbow as soon as possible. If we think from their perspective, if the Douluo National Academy had a partner as formidable as the Body Sect, in addition to the fact that the Body Sect isn't on good terms with Shrek Academy, why would they be so eager to lean towards us? Everyone's heads bobbed up and down as they listened to his analysis. Bei said, little junior brother makes a lot of sense. Therefore, our chances of meeting them have become 1 in 3. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's discuss our battle strategies and tactics for the next round. There were fewer and fewer teams staying in the Brilliant Delight Hotel as the tournament progressed over time. Most of the teams who had been eliminated from the tournament had chosen to leave, as this place was considered a sad place for them now. Of course, some teams had wanted to stay so that they could continue watching the tournament. This was a great opportunity that they didn't want to miss. But the teams that had been eliminated were forced to move out of the Brilliant Delight Hotel. Therefore, the spacious and tremendous Brilliant Delight Hotel was only housing 8 teams at the moment. The entire hotel seemed empty and uninhabited, but this emptiness was filled with a stifled atmosphere. The next 3 rounds represented glory, wealth, and reputation, all at once, for every quarterfinalists. Shrek Academy undoubtedly felt the most pressure, because they were the previous season's champions, and much of their glory and reputation was at stake. Their opponents in the subsequent rounds were simply too powerful, but their draw was considered fortunate. At the very least, they were up against one of the weaker teams in the quarterfinals. But what about afterwards? Everything that was to come was hard to predict. The Holy Ghost Sect was the most mysterious team. Their team members rarely showed themselves in public other than in the arena during the tournament. The Tang Sect was no longer considered a dark horse. Their team members' identities had been investigated and publicized after their impressive showing. When everyone discovered that they were the Shrek Academy team that had clinched the championship last season, their label as a dark horse vanished into thin air. It was even more taxing for Hua Yuao, because he had to prepare for the Radiant City Elite Soul Engineering Competition's grand finals on top of his official tournament. This tournament's timing was alternated from the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament. Therefore, the Radiant City Elite Soul Engineering Tournament's grand finals was fixed on the second day after the Continental Elite Youth Soul Master Tournament semi-finals. This also meant that the Underground Tournament's grand finals was 1 day away from the other one. It was the best way to attract more people to bet and wager. 9 people were participating in the Radiant City Elite Soul Engineering Tournament. Hua Yuao had used his necromancy to defeat his opponent in the previous round, but he had no idea what the final round's rules were going to be. This was a Soul Engineer tournament, after all, and it was natural that the rules of the grand finals would be adjusted after he had set a precedent by using his martial soul to defeat his opponent. The other 2 underground organizations would also be very careful about such a thing. Therefore, Hua Yuao had to design some of his own authentic soul tools, besides preparing for their quarterfinals, so that he could win something in the underground tournament. He had to claim this championship for the Tang Sect's development, and also because he wanted to go undercover in his enemy's camp. 2 days were given for the quarterfinalists to take a breather, and every team took this chance to rest up. The quarterfinals were finally here. Radiant City was bustling early in the morning, and dawn had yet to break when citizens thronged out of the city to claim a good spot to watch the tournament from. The quarterfinals would conclude today. There were 4 matches to be fought, and every match was one strong team against another. Nobody wanted to miss a single match for anything in the world. Every single citizen who was hurrying out of the city along the roads and streets was carrying dry rations and water. They were prepared to spend an entire day in and around the spectators' grandstands, and they were going together in groups. What was the benefit of going together with friends? The greatest one was that their seats wouldn't be taken by others if they wanted to head to the bathroom when the time came. The masses of toilets that had been set up outside the city specifically for into the tournament since its beginning had actually amassed quite some fertilizer for the farms around the Radiant City, though the farmers had to be the only ones who were excited about that. According to the tournament's rules, the first group would fight it out in the morning, while the second group would have their chance in the afternoon. When the sun peeked out from the horizon, the teams that represented the strongest youths in the world walked out of the city as platoons of soldiers formed human walls to escort them. Not only were the first 4 teams that were fighting in the morning going to the arena, but the second group, the Holy Ghost Sect, the Tang Sect, the Snow Demon Sect, and the Douluo National Academy, had all gotten up early in the morning as well. There was no need to watch the other rounds during the round robins, and each team could just mind their own business. However, it was imperative for every team to understand their adversaries during the quarterfinals. At the same time, it was also better to head down to the arena so that they could get used to its atmosphere as early as possible. The quarterfinals would be the true showdown between powerhouses. After today, the quarterfinals would narrow down into the semifinals, and the 4 eliminated teams would be heading home. Huo was still sitting silently in his wheelchair. The quarterfinalists didn't leave the Brilliant Delight Hotel at the same time, which was why they were the only team on the street at the moment. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.